Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another update of my Those Eyeshadows. I think this is our sixth update, right? Yeah, I think it's our sixth update for the year. And I decided to kind of change the schedule of how my videos are going up on my channel. So I want to upload the Those Eyeshadows at the end of the month so that in my monthly eyeshadow bank that I post in the beginning of the year, I don't spoil anything, because before then it was flipped. So you're gonna get these couple days sooner. I'm actually pre-filming this quite a bit. It's actually it's been like 3 weeks since my last update for me, since I filmed it. So I didn't have that much time to work on these, but we actually have a lot of rollouts today. So I'm very, very excited for this video and the new roll-ins that we're gonna get. Hopefully they're gonna be good. So stay tuned for that. In case you're new here, hi, my name's Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, I love eyeshadows, I love panning. It's such a great project. It's such a great time. I do a lot of different projects like That palette, project level up and stuff like that. So I will leave a couple of these projects down below in the description box so that you can check it out on your own. And in case you're not subscribed, it would really help me if you could subscribe. We're getting really close to 1K, at least as I'm filming this. I am pre-filming a little bit to enjoy a peaceful vacation. So it would really help me if you could subscribe. And now let's get right into it. So 2 months ago we had a really big like update where I essentially rolled out 5 new shades because the previous shades were finished. So there were a lot of new shades for me to work on, and last month we did roll out a lot of them as well. I think we had 2 shades that were here for 2 months now, and the rest were new shades. I'm gonna pop up over here and I'm actually gonna scooch a little bit. So I'm gonna put here the shades that we were working on. It was the Nebula shade from the Solmone palette, then the shade Pixie Dust, which is from the Tinkerbell palette by Colourpop, and then we rolled in 3 new shades. One was the shade Forewarning from the Makeup Beauty Shop Serpent palette, then the shade Just Now from the Christmas Eve palette by Udon's Eye, and then the shade Niepozorny, which is from the Sorbeti palette by Glam Shop. We actually have 4 rollouts this month. Only 1 shade from all of these is staying, so I want you to pause this video and vote down below which shade do you think is staying for the next month, and obviously the rest I will be rolling out. So I'm gonna give you a little second to comment down below. It would really help me if you could if you would guess. And now we're gonna go one by one and talk about these shades. So as I said, the first one was the shade Nebula, which is from the Solmone 2 palette by Udon's Eye. And 2 months ago we started at 13 uses of this eyeshadow, so it was used 13 times prior, and in the past 2 months, or almost 2 months, I was able to use it 17 times. So we're now at 30 uses in total for this shade. And as you can see, hopefully, we have a teeny tiny pan. I used it as an eyeliner so many times. Like, I definitely used it on my lids as well multiple times, but I would say like good 2/3 of these looks were using this as an eyeliner. And this pen is so deep, and also because this shade is one of the thickest, most like compact shades in this palette, it took forever. Like the other ones are a little bit more fluffy, a little bit more, you know, they have a little bit more fallout maybe, and they're just softer in formula, but this one is very hard to actually hit a pan on. So it took 17 uses in 2 months. There were a lot of blue looks. Thankfully I have, well, now it's kind of washing away, but it's I had a blue hair, so it worked with that, but yeah, it was so hard. So this one is done. And by the way, I don't think I've explained the rules. So for me, I always have 5 shades rolled in. 3 of them are from my focus palettes, which are palettes I either want to hit pan on or use up this year. Then 1 shade is rolled in using the prompt from Lainey, I believe. And the last shade is a random shade from my entire collection. So the shade Nebula was the random shade from the focus palette. Another of the shades that is in my focus palette is the shade Pixie Dust from the Tinkerbell palette from Odin's Eye. And this one 2 months ago was at 17 uses. I've used it a couple times the previous month, and in total, since I rolled it in the beginning of June, we were able to get to 33 uses. So I've added 16 uses to this eyeshadow, and this is how it looks like. It's the central shade. This one was, as you can see, it's gone. This one was pretty easy because it was one of my favorite shimmers from Colourpop, because it was the most sparkliest. I would almost say that it's shiny, whereas all of other eyeshadows from Colourpop are just like satins. I've never actually seen shimmery eyeshadow from them, and that's what I want to wear, shimmery, shiny eyeshadows. If they are advertised as shimmers, obviously. And this one was one of the best, but it was also kind of flaky, really, really soft, and very, it was really hard to use this shade because it would crumble so much. I free pressed it so many times, and even if the palette would just lay like this on my table for a couple of days, I would still open it up and it would be shattered everywhere. Like, I don't know what was wrong with this eyeshadow. It was really beautiful. Like, it was the best eyeshadow, shimmer eyeshadow that I've tried from Colourpop, but it's just it was really annoying to use. But I'm surprised it actually took that many uses to finish it up, because I mean, the shade thing that was right next to it took 31 uses to use up completely, and that one was definitely a lot thicker, fuller formula, but also I used it kind of everywhere. Whereas the shade Pixie Dust, I would use it on my lid, like usually in the center, and then deepen it up with something and use something later in the inner corner. So thanks to this project, I've been able to completely use up these 3 shades. They were rolled in one by one into this project, which is really cool. I'm happy. My goal for this palette is to obviously, like, I wanted to have pans on these last 2 rows, and we only have 2 shades left that don't have a pan here, so I'm doing pretty well, I would say. And oh, I forgot to tell you the weights. So for the Nebula, I always forget that the palette had 150.94 grams, and now it has 151.1 grams, so it gained weight, even though I didn't use just the shade Nebula, but also other shades in that palette, and somehow it gained weight. I'm not gonna go too much into that. I've already mumbled enough about this in my latest Those palette. And then the shade Pixie Dust, it weighed 2.42 grams, and now the pen itself is 1.93 grams. So I was able to use up 0.49 grams, if I count correctly, which is pretty much like a half of eyeshadow, because I think these are all 1 gram. Yeah, they are all 1 gram. But once you hit a pen on this, especially this shade, it would just crumble everywhere. Like, the amount of fallout I would get from this, and the amount of dirt that would just cover my table, my like legs, ground, everything, it was kind of exhausting, honestly, so I'm glad that it's gone. It wasn't worth that much trouble. And then from the last month's update, we have 3 shades that we've been working on. One of them was the prompts shade, and it was something you love but rarely wear. And I decided to roll in the Serpent palette by Mika Beauty Shop in collaboration with Marta's Makeup, because it's such a gorgeous palette, but I haven't really used it this year a lot. And I decided to roll in the shade Forewarning, which is super vibrant neon yellow that had 9 uses last month. I've actually used it a lot. I have it in my inner corner today. And from 9 uses we went to 16 uses, so I've used it 7 times in this month. And here's how it looks like. It still doesn't have a pen. I was actually able to hit a pen on the shade next to it, which is called Transformation. But Forewarning doesn't have a pen, but there's a really good dip happening, so I think if I'm gonna try in a couple more uses, I might be able to hit a pen. So I still have, what, 3 days before I'm flying to Sweden. Maybe I'm gonna use it once before, and then I'm gonna focus on it after I get back. And hopefully in a month we're gonna have a progress on this. But it is a beautiful shade, and I'm so happy that I have this rolled in for summer, because obviously it's very summery shade. So that's the Forewarning. That was the only one that is staying, by the way. Then we have another random number from the Focus palette, and it was the shade Just Now, which is from the Christmas Eve palette by Udon's Eye. It was at 13 uses, and it weighed 105.63 grams. Now it's at 20 uses, so I've used it 7 times. And as you can see here, I was able to hit a pan. I've used it in my brows. Like, ever since I rolled it into the project, I would use it in my brows until the day that this was finished. And yeah, it took me 7 uses, and from the 105.63 grams, we went to 105.53 grams, so it took me 0.1 gram of eyeshadow to hit a pan. And as you can see, like, the dip is pretty, like, it's narrow because I obviously use a liner brush, or kind of like a thicker liner brush for my brows, but it's a pan nonetheless, and I'm gonna be focusing on this shade a little bit later in the year when I really want to finish it up. And then the last shade is from the Glam Shop Sorbet Pad. So this was a random number from my entire collection, and I'm actually really happy that this was rolled in, because I've been meaning to try this palette and use it a little bit more this year, because I've loved it last year and then I didn't really get the chance to use it this year yet, before this was rolled in. But thanks to this, I realized that I also wanna put it in as my palette crush of the month for the next month. So I've actually been working on it also as my palette crush of the month. But before I rolled it into my palette crush of the month, I actually was able to hit a pan on this. So the shade Nepozorny had 1 use prior to this project, because it's a bony matte neutral shade, so I just don't have a use for it. And it took me 14 uses to hit a pan on it. So on the 15th use, I had a pan. I've actually used it like 2 or 3 times afterwards, because I found out that it's actually a pretty good setting powder if I don't have a setting powder and I want to use it, which I pretty much never do, but once in a while I film a video where I kind of try to use like a full face of makeup. And since I didn't have a setting powder, I've actually used it like that, and it works, I think, really well. So as you can see, a really good pan right now. We're at 15 uses. Well, I already have more than 15 uses on this, but it takes 15 uses in total to hit a pan on shade like this. Usually I would just put a primer on my lids and then use this in this area so that my eyeshadow don't go too far, and it's easier to blend it that way. So literally just like this little sliver underneath the brow, and I mean, it worked. It was nice. and we went from 143.43 grams to 143.2 grams, which means I used up 0.23 grams. I used this palette not only for this shade, even though it was primarily for this shade, until I had a pan, until there was the pan, and then I rolled it into the Palette Crush of the Month project. So it's kind of strange, but I feel like there has been so many problems with my scale. I don't know if it's the scale or if it's the palettes, but some keep gaining weight every single month, even though I use them more and more, and some miraculously are losing like a lot of weight without actually having that many uses in. So I don't get it, but I don't need to get it because I'm just not gonna focus on that. This is just like an I feel like the weight is just something that's like for fun, not actually something that like really means a lot to me. But in case you do like these types of stats, I don't see a reason why not to film them. And now we're gonna roll in 4 new shades. 3 of them will be random numbers from my entire, random numbers from the Focus palette, and then 1 will be random number from my entire collection. So let me get my phone, and we're gonna get the we're gonna get the Tiny Decisions app, because I have the Focus palettes first. So we're gonna be rolling in 3 shades. I think it has a couple of shades that aren't supposed to be here anymore because I kind of changed up. Yeah, I think there are a couple of shades that aren't supposed to be here. So if we're gonna roll it, then I'm just gonna re-roll. And now we're gonna roll in a new shade, which is gonna be Second Star. Okay, I don't know what Second Star is, but I have a strange suspicion that it's not supposed to be here. Yeah, so technically it would be a single eyeshadow from the Tinkerbell palette, and it's a yellow matte, which we already have in the project, and this one shouldn't really even be here because I think I forgot to take a couple of shades out of this. So we're gonna re-roll, and we're gonna get the shade Christmas Tree, which I still have actually, and I wanted to focus on this shade this month, so that's really cool. So one of them is Christmas Tree. Let me actually write it down. And we have the shade Meteor. This is from the Soul Monet palette by Those Eye, and I don't know if this doesn't have a pan. Yeah, this one has a pan already, but my rule is either hit the pan or use it 20 times. If it has a pan, then I would either have to use it 20 times or use it up. I mean, technically I could use it 20 times and then roll it out of the project. I'm gonna write it down, and if it's gonna be too similar to something else that I would rather work on, then we're just gonna re-roll, I guess. I don't wanna like keep re-rolling, but also I didn't realize that it's not up to date. Okay, sorry, so my camera decided to cut me off when I was re-rolling, when I was rolling a new shade. So what it rolled in was the shade Black Hole, which is also from the Soul Monet 2 palette, which is really exciting. And I guess since we have 2 shades from this palette and I want to take this palette with me to Sweden, I'm gonna count it as it is. And then we're gonna roll in the random shade from my entire collection, which my entire collection now has, it's over 1,000 eyeshadows, including singles, but I don't know how much exactly. Oh yeah, so it's 1,006. Now we're just gonna randomize a number, and it's 816. That is quite high, so I'm kind of scared it's like a really new palette. 816 is from the Linz palette from Blend Bunny. I've already had this palette rolled in the first or second update. I already worked on one shade from this palette, and like it's fairly new palette. I think I reviewed it either end of December or beginning of January. Do I want to like work on a very new palette and have two pans here? This shade, or maybe this one is from the Beauty Blue, but I know I changed a couple of like 2 shades. I think these 2 I changed, and I'm not completely sure if this is the correct shade, but it was supposed to be like a pinky or purple shade anyways. Do I want to work on that? Because I don't want to have 2 pans in a new palette, kind of like there are so many other palettes in my collection. Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll again. So $144. Okay, $144 is, come on, is the shade Entangled from the Legend of Korra palette. This one I think is a single from Colourpop, and it's a matte orange. Wait, no, 144. 144 is the shade Waterbending from the Legend of Korra. I was on the wrong row, because I have the row in Excel spreadsheet, and then right next to it I have the number, like the numbers that I'm rolling from, because obviously I have a couple shades that already have a pen, so the number is deleted, but the row still exists. I don't know if that makes sense. And I was looking at the wrong number. So 144 is the shade Waterbending from Legend of Korra. Let me write it down. I'm pretty sure that that's the matte blue. Okay, so I'm back with all of my shades and all the stats and everything. So this is my current color story, which, I mean, this is really pretty. I don't know, maybe it can look kind of weird for all of you, and it's mostly matte, which will be hard, but it's pretty cool color story. I definitely can't wait to create a look with all of these, because I always try to do at least one look using all of my eyeshadows in this project, to kind of, you know, give me at least one use that I can share with you in the next update. But we obviously are staying with the shade Forewarning from the Serpent palette, so it's going on its second month in the project. Then we rolled in a shade that I have repressed in this palette, and it's the shade Christmas Tree, which is this deep green. It currently has 46 uses, and since it already had a pan in its previous container when it was in the Merry Christmas pie by Odin's Eye, I either have to use this 20 times or use it up. I really want to use it up by the next update. It might look like a crazy idea because the pan is full, but it's actually like super tiny. It's literally just like a paper thin layer, and that's all that there is from the eyeshadow. So I'm just gonna really focus on it, use it in a lot of looks, and hopefully we'll have a pan, or like we'll have it used up by the next month. I would really love to use it up by that point, so I'll try, and yeah, we'll see what I can do. But currently 46 uses on this shade. Then we have the Salmon Tupa by Odin's Eye and the shade Meteor, which is this beautiful purpley shade. It's on the second row, and it already has a pan. So my goal, because I'm not going to be able to use it up anywhere soon, but my goal is going to be using it 20 times to expand the pan. This is beautiful as a face highlighter, so for any cooler looks, I'm just gonna use it as a face highlighter. And hopefully within like 2 months I could have it rolled out. I think that's very doable. It's a nice almost like iridescent shade. I can use it on my lower lash line. It works in the inner corner as well, so I'm just gonna try to use it as much as I can to have it hopefully rolled out in like 2 months, because obviously 20 uses is quite a lot. Then we have the shade Black Hole, which is also from the Salmon palette. It's the black shade. I've already used it 20 times. I use it as an eyeliner, so this shouldn't be hard. This one will definitely roll out next month, because I don't know if it actually looks like that on camera, but in the shade Black Hole, I'm probably gonna have a pan next month because it has an insanely huge dip. I've already used it 20 times, and usually I hit a pan on these like around the 25 uses. And yeah, the dip is huge, so I'm definitely gonna do a couple black liners, and we'll have this one done. And then the last shade is the shade Waterbending from the Legend of Korra palette by Colourpop. And the shade Waterbending is this light matte blue shade. And I don't know if you can see it, but it actually has a really good dip. You can't see the like engraving in there, or like the symbol there. And I would love to have a pan on this because I've actually used it a lot. It already has 15 uses. So it's probably not gonna be that hard to actually hit a pan on this, and I would be very happy to do that. So that's kind of what we're gonna be working with. Here's the color story again. I think I'm definitely gonna be able to roll out the shade Forewarning, because I think we're getting close, and obviously I will wear it a lot in August since it is such a vibrant shade. I'm gonna really work my ass off to use up the shade Christmas Tree. I'm gonna use them a lot together because I do like to use yellows with greens. The shade Wonderful, I'm gonna try to use it in the inner corner as a face highlighter, maybe also as like a brown bone highlight. I can definitely do that. So this way I think I will be able to hit the 20 uses quite soon, but it's probably gonna be in the, not in the next update, but the one after. And then the shade Black Hole is gonna be super easy, and Waterbending also. So 3 shades are definitely gonna be rolled out next month, or at least like if I'm gonna actually use them, I will roll them out, because it can't take that many uses. And 2 shades are kind of like hopefully we'll get there, but it will require a lot of focus from me. So those are the palettes that I've been that I will be working on. Let me know what you think about this progress. I'm very happy that we've usually had like at least 3 rollouts every single month. I think that's a really good amount of progress, and as I said, I can't wait to film a look with this. I think I still haven't posted my look with the previous color story. Maybe I did, I'm not completely sure, but if I didn't, it's gonna be up soon. And that is everything for today. Let me know how you're doing, in case you're doing any panning project. Let me know down below. And what do you think is what would be like the hardest shade from these for you to pan? Which one would be like your nemesis? Let me know down below as well. I hope you've had a wonderful day, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. So bye.